Hello and welcome to another episode of Analogue Encounters. In today's episode, we're going to be looking at Ilfords ORTHO Plus. So, Ortho Plus. This is a ortho film, meaning that it is not sensitive to red light. Most black and white films that we work with these days are pan films, which are sensitive to all aspects of the visible spectrum. Being ortho is red insensitive. This means that it's actually possible to load this into your development tank using a safe light. That said, I have never shot with ortho film before. And sadly, I was hoping to try this when I was at home in England, but that didn't happen. But opportunities always come about. There's always things to go out and film. I'd heard that ortho film was good for architectural scenes, which I'm always interested in. It's possibly going to be interesting for maybe doing people and portraits. That red insensitivity may possibly have a more flattering effect. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think some people have said that is the case. That being the case, my wife was attending a Pokemon community festival down in Indianapolis, down by the Canal Region, which is a beautiful location for shooting any time of the year. It was a beautiful sunny day, so I loaded up the camera, and this is an 80 ISO film, so I thought it was better to have good bright conditions as opposed to shooting in the dark. And I went and shot this 36 roll of film. I took video footage, had a GoPro, so I was going around as I was taking the pictures. So up next is a 9-minute montage of a video interspersed with shots that I took with this film on that day out. After which I will return and tell you about the development process and give you my final conclusions. So without further ado, let's take a look at my day out with Ilfords ORTHO 80 Plus. there we have it. Ortho 80 Plus. I did a stand development. I didn't really need to. Everything was basically shot under the same conditions. But I did stand development 1 hour in Rodinal at a 100:1 dilution. That's something that I've used before. I felt quite comfortable with. This, as I say, is a 80 ISO film, so I was expecting the film grain to be small, so I didn't think that there would be any severe detriment from doing that. From looking at the results, that was definitely the case. Grain was not an issue at any time. The main issue is do you like the results of this film? To me personally, I don't know that I really did. My wife, when she reviewed the pictures, thought they were really nice and actually liked that that effect. I'm not sure how I feel. I've never felt quite so conflicted about a film stock before. On one hand, yes, it did render very nice images, but to me, they weren't pleasing. I don't think it was the development process. It is basically a characteristic of ortho film that they should have that feel to it and that look. I tried to shoot a variety of different things, flags, etc., people, skies, buildings of different textures, and I just didn't warm to it. I think I'm going to do a bit more research and see whether different filters would help bring out more, sort of contrast. But on the whole, I felt it was flat. Now, you may disagree, and a lot of you might love this. So I would be very, very interested to learn what you think of ortho film in general, and what sort of tips and tricks do you use? What conditions do you find it most suitable for? I thought this should be the perfect condition for it, but as I say, for me and my taste, I really didn't like it. So, but I have to say, in addition to that, this film was easy to load into the development tank, and once dry, it did dry very flat, so it was very easy to scan. I didn't print any of these pictures, as I say, because I wasn't really taken by them, but they were easy to scan, and so that is definitely a plus for a lot of people. So, as I say, let me know what your feelings are on this film, and particularly what sort of filters you might use. I didn't use any filter at all, just shot it as it was, and basically use the light meter of the camera for the exposure in this particular case, using aperture priority. So anyway, as I say, I don't know how I feel about that. I wasn't too thrilled. I'm going to be shooting, I have shot some Japanese camera hobby Street Pan 200. I shot that both 120 and 135 millimeter back in England and here in Indy. And in a few weeks, I hope to be able to share the results and the thoughts of that. On the whole, I was generally have been more pleased with those outcomes than I have been with this ortho film. So thank you again for watching, and hope to see you in a couple of weeks' time on another episode of Analogue Encounters. Goodbye.